Hello drummers, I'm Rob Litton from drumstheword.com and welcome to this free video drum lesson where I'm going to show you how to play my favourite bits, some of the best parts from the 25-minute epic that Dave Grohl's just released for his Foo Fighter channel, Play. I mean, it's just like a best of Dave Grohl. He throws in all of his favourite licks and grooves, plus some cool new stuff as well. So what I've got for you today are 6 pages of free PDFs you can download from my website. There's a link beneath this video, so make sure you have that printed out in front of you as I go through each of these pages in this lesson. It's something like 21 of my favourite beats, fills and licks sections from the song. So it's not the whole thing. 25 minutes is a long song to transcribe and then teach you. I don't want to make this video 6 hours long. So like I said, I've just taken, I think, the coolest parts, the most complicated parts, the bits that stand out the most, and hopefully you'll have a lot of fun with taking these licks and sections and trying to play along to the music, but then also taking them and using them in your own playing as well. So if you could do me the favour of liking and sharing and commenting if you find this video useful, then that would be really appreciated as well. Don't forget to download the free PDF with this lesson, and do check out my website drumstheword.com where you can learn full video song lessons. I teach you a song from start to finish. Every single note is included. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart, and I've got hundreds, over 300 famous songs on my lesson. Okay, that's the advert out the way. Let's get on with our first part that occurs at 9:10 into the song. Okay, so we've got a ton of stuff to go through in this lesson, so I won't be spending too much time on each lick. I'm going to show you how to play it slowly, then we're going to speed it up, then I'm going to show you how to play it up to speed without my microphone on so you can hear just the drums. So let's get started. This first lick that occurs at 9:10 into the song, it's how Dave Grohl enters the song. It's one of his favourite licks. He's used it loads and loads of times in other songs as well. It's a group of 6, this time it's played through 16th notes. It's a flam on the snare drum, 1 E, and then a 2 E. There's our 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 E and a 2 E, and then it just gets repeated a second time. And a 3 E and it ends naturally with a snare drum flam on beat 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. So now let's hear it without a microphone on so you can hear just the drums on their own. Okay, this next groove occurs at 9:26, and the best way to explain it, because it requires a little bit of movement around the drums with the right hand, is to play it all on the floor tom to start off with, and then we'll move the right hand to the crash cymbal at the end. So initially we get this, 1 E and a 2 E, right, left, right, bass, bass. And there's a bass drum at the beginning as well, boom. 1 E and a 2 E, and then we get and so it's actually 1 E and a 2 E and it just repeats at that point. 3 E and a 4 E and So if we loop it round a few times, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. So get that down. The next thing is to move the right hand between the crash cymbal and the floor tom. We're playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E. So just get this down initially, get that into muscle memory, and then moving to the crash cymbal shouldn't be too tricky for you. But here's what it sounds like with just the drums. So this next one occurs at 10:10 into the song, and it basically takes the lick from the beginning of the song. It's the same 6-note grouping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our first lick occurred at 9:10. We play that 4 times through 16th notes, which naturally ends up in the second bar, finishing on beat 3, where Dave moves into these Bonham triplets. Very famous lick that uses a lot as well. Simply right, left foot, but they're in triplets, 16th note triplets, so we can fit 2 of those 3s into each beat. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and. So the tricky bit really is going from 16th note to the triplets. If I cut that out loud for you. Oh, by the way, the orchestration of the triplets is right, left foot, right, left foot, right, left foot, right, left foot. Which is a lovely, lovely little lick, that. And you end up having the snare drum play on 3 and 4. 3, 4, 1. So if I play it through slowly, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 ta ta and ta ta 4 ta ta and ta ta 1. By the way, he plays that line twice, and then the second time he plays it through, he just gets looped twice. Those 2 bars get played twice. But then at the very last bar, like the 4th, 5th bar, if you like, he ends it with a flam and snare drum. Flam between the floor tom and snare drum, sorry. So, let's try that again, a bit faster than I'll play up to speed for you. And let's play it properly without a microphone on so you can hear just the drums. So this next groove's a really nice idea where Dave is playing across the beat. He's keeping quarter notes steady here, but his bass drum is playing every 3rd, 16th notes. It's a 2-bar pattern with a drum fill at the end of each 2 bars. And at this point, 10:54 into the song, he starts to throw in this little hi-hat bark at the beginning of every 2 bars, which I really liked. So we get this, 1 E and 1 E and and then 2 and, then 3 E and 4 4 E and so 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and You can hear how the bass drum plays around with the quarter note steady here, especially when I start to speed it up. The second bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and. You could play it right, left. I like to play it left because my left hand's here. And 4 E and 1 and 4 E and 1. Into the 3rd bar where it barks again. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2. That last bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. In fact, it goes into and 4 and 1. It goes into another hi-hat bark. So the 4 bars slowly. 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And let's hear it played up to speed. So getting a bit rockier now, this next section occurs at 11:39. We're playing on the open hi-hat, and Dave plays this 2-bar phrase where he ends each of the 2-bar phrases with and 4 and, the 3 crash cymbals. So the first 2 bars we've got 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and we go straight into bar 2 with another 2 bass drums. So it's actually and 1 and. So 1 and for the second bar, 1 and 2 and 3, flam, and then and 4 and. And I noticed in the recording, Dave comes back to the hi-hat straight away for the beat 1. I perhaps wouldn't do that if I was playing it with my band, but Dave does, so that's what I've written here. So we get the second 2 bars, 1 and 2, into another crash again on 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and this time we get 2 16th notes, 2 and 3, 2 and 3, and 4 and. So slowly the 4 bars, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So let's hear what that sounds like up to speed. So we've got another fun tom-tom groove here from Dave that occurs at 12:08. I've got two bars for you. The first bar is really how he enters it, and the second bar is what he repeats then afterwards. So if you want to play the groove repeating, then just play the second bar round and round. This is how he starts it. He comes in on the crash cymbal. We're riding on the floor tom, just playing eighth notes. 1 and a 2 and. So we come up to the hi-hat with the left hand to play the open hi-hat. Your hi-hat would be over here, of course, on a normal kit. And it comes down with the bass drum and floor tom and opens for the and of 2, then closes on beat 3, just with the floor tom, 3. And then we play 3E and a, 3E and a, 4E, 4E and a, 4E and a. So it might look a little bit complicated, but really the hands aren't doing that much. It's the left hand that's moving around a bit. But if I play it the whole bar, 1 and a 2 and 3E and a 4E and a. And then when we go into the next bar, it loops. 1, so the left hand then comes down to the floor tom to play the beginning part, 1E and. 1E and a 2 and 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2 and 3E and a 4E and a. So if I play those two bars, 1 and a 2 and 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2 and 3E and a 4E and a 1. And a little bit faster. And you can see how I loop around that second bar. Okay, let's hear those two bars up to speed. So again, featuring another lick of his that he's used previously in this song, but in a different context. I thought I had to include this because it sounds so cool. And for some drummers out there, they might not realise it's actually the same lick you've already heard before. So it occurs at 12:42, and it's just before those stabs, da da da, and 4 and. He uses these bottom triplets, played exactly the same orchestration as he did previously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, played twice. And it goes into a flam on beat 3, 3 and 4 and. So we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We're sort of counting ourselves in. Da, 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 da. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was pretty much up to speed, but let's hear it properly. So prepare to have your mind blown because Dave Grohl uses a double bass drum pedal in this song. I mean, he's kind of famous for having an amazing solid bass drum foot, but I wouldn't have known unless I watched the video. You can see him sort of play around with the double bass drum pedal near the beginning of the video. But then also when you're watching him play the performance, you can see he's actually using the double pedal. And it makes sense for these slow, because it's kind of a slow tempo, this quad lick. Playing it 1 foot is fine, but if you play it 2 pedals, you give each bass drum note more power and more emphasis. So it's great that Dave is starting to use double bass drum pedal in his performances. So it's a very simple, classic quad lick. Right, left foot, foot. It's not played that fast though. He plays this orchestration: snare, snare, bass, bass, high tom, bass, bass, floor tom, high tom, bass, bass. It goes into snare and crash, and then he comes out of it with 4 and a 1. So we get 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4 and a 1. Oh. And let's hear it up to speed. Okay, so for this next section that occurs at 13:55, Dave is up on the crash cymbals, a really cool drum beat this, and it still features that motif and 4 and at the end. So it's 2 bars, we're playing, and by the way, Dave is naturally accenting the downbeats, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't really hear the ands very well because of the way a crash cymbal works, it washes out. But that's the way he's playing it. But you could just play quarter notes if you wanted to. But as written, as played by Dave, 1 and 2. So we missed out the bass drum on beat 1 there. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. So a half-time groove where we're playing the backbeat on beat 3 only. 3 and 4 and. And then he plays 1 and 2 and into a flam on 3 and 4 and. And use 2 different crash cymbals there if you have them. It just sounds cooler. So we get 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up to speed.